Welcome to the sixth episode of The Slice, which is a bi-weekly LinkedIn, LinkedIn Live series where Black men can talk a little shop and add a little insurance flair. My name is Justin Harris, and I am the Assistant Vice President, Regional Underwriting Manager at Peer Insurance. I am also a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, a frat so nice they had to name us twice. And I have with me today Mr. Harvey Chambers and Joe Hughley. Fellas, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Harvey Chambers. I am the Regional Sales Manager for Anthem Medicare Plans in Virginia. I'm a proud member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Blue Phi, you know. And so just proud to be here today to share with your audience.
And good afternoon, and thank you, Justin and Harvey, for sharing the stage with me. My name is Joe Huey Sr. I am a member of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. We are so grateful to be able to share with you guys today some great ideas and strategies. I am a partner with the New York Life Insurance Company here in the Richmond, Virginia area, and we're excited to kick this conversation off.
I'm glad you didn't start barking. We weren't going to talk about Harvey over here today.
Yeah, well, hey. So
that's how we started this conversation. Now we ain't gonna talk about how we gonna end this conversation.
But you know where we come from. You know Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. You know that, right?
No, I never heard of it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, after today, you will know us. And just remember that, when we started, our founders said this. They said we are the inclusive rather than the exclusive we. So just wanted you to know, as we start this conversation, the foundation of this is that Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity has always been at the forefront of talking about inclusion when it comes to all areas of life.
Spell inclusion.
And I totally get that. And the great thing about inclusion is when you can't do something else, then you have to create something that includes all the people who couldn't get involved. So we totally understand following up and having those doors, but we focus our attention, of course, on building men, good, strong men. So manhood, we want to work on our scholarship, making sure we're improving in that area, perseverance, sticking it out, getting it done. And then uplifting our communities, making sure that we continue year after year creating
when all else fails, you just got to achieve in every field of human endeavor. Yo to the news.
Yeah. But for us, it's cultural service and service for humanity. So we've always been at the forefront of that as well. But yeah.
But let's topic at hand though. We are all a part of great organizations that are striving to achieve in any field that they're in, right? But what I really want to pick your guys' brain on. So there are a lot of benefits of our organizations, right? You think about the personal benefits, the professional benefits, right? One of the things that I think is really untapped is just how we can get more African-American men introduced to this industry, right? And I would love just to kind of tap into you guys' mind. What do you think is one of the things that we can do just to get more people introduced to this particular industry, right?
Well, one of the things, so specifically, my job here at New York Life is to recruit, train, and develop, new advisors. It's what I do all day, every day. And so one of the things that I think the fraternity specifically can do is share other roads to accomplishing what people ultimately want, right? One of the huge advantages of being a producer in this industry is, unlimited amount of income, the flexibility and control of my time, and then the fact that I actually get to make an impact in people's lives, right? And there are very few careers that really offer you all three of those things. And I think when we're talking to our young men and who are striving and thinking about, which career paths they want or what directions they want to go, we need to open up our minds, open up our doors, and open up communication to say, hey, you might want to, think about the insurance or financial services industry, because some of the things that you're saying that you want, this industry can provide.
Can I ask you a question, Joe? Oh, I'm sorry. Like, when you think about the frat, though, the frat in itself, how often, like, how can we talk to these young brothers just to open up their mind that there's more opportunities out there beyond just the sexy jobs, what they perceive to be sexy jobs, right? I think that's one of the things that I found myself challenged with as I'm conversing with my young neophytes, because they think, an example, like I had a conversation with one of my neos and I was telling him about insurance, and he looked at me like I lost my mind because it wasn't sexy to him. But then when he also told me what he was getting paid for a job,
right?
He was taken back. He's like, man, like I thought I should be making six figures, and I was like, listen, young man, no company's going to pay you six figures to graduate because you haven't earned it. But I'm just thinking, like, going back to it, how can we get people to just be open to thinking about careers in the financial service industry? You too, Harvey. I'd love to get your perspective on that too.
Yeah, well, I also, similar to Joel, I actually recruit and help agents in the Medicare space here in the Richmond, Virginia area and in Central Virginia. And in my role to recruit and train, I do see that there is a disparity when it comes to our African-American men, in the Medicare space. And the one thing that I would really encourage is when we talk about fraternities, for us with Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, we have our Bigger and Better Business program, which focuses on businesses and entrepreneurs. So that's one of the avenues that we can look at. And we also have our Sigma Beta Club, where we work with young men, in high school and really help them on that career path. But when I step back, I remember when I was a little boy, we used to have the insurance man come to our house in Halifax, Virginia. And he was coming on a consistent basis to pick up that premium from my mother. And at that time, young people, nobody aspired to be the insurance man. And so I think what we need to help individuals understand, and Joel can speak to this as well as you, is that the insurance industry offers a very lucrative opportunity for those individuals. And so young people haven't seen those examples in a lot of situations where they see insurance, as you say, being sexy. So the challenge for me is even having Medicare be sexy, to sell Medicare. But for those individuals that we can show, like a Joel or for me or others who are in the industry, to put those in front of the young people so that they can see this is something that they can aspire to.
Yeah,
I apologize to you guys. My camera is acting funny. I don't know if you can hear me, but I'll get it here in a second. But I think one of the other pieces of the puzzle, as far as how the fraternities can help in that space. So, one of the things I find very interesting, with people, they talk about sexy as far as the, insurance industry is concerned. I encourage them to check out our lifestyles a little closer. Right. So when you dig into it a little bit deeper, what you'll find is, in our case, the first African-American agent New York Life hired was Cyrilla McSween. And he was Dr. King's treasurer. And one of the reasons why he was Dr. King's treasurer was because he had some money. And, when you dig into our lives a little bit differently, you find out a little bit more. What I like to say is industry is all about discovery. Nobody wakes up wanting to be a financial services professional or an insurance agent. But when you dig in a little deeper, you find out something that this industry offers, not only income, but also lifestyle.
Like one of the things that both of you guys said, I think we got to help young people change the word from sexy, right? They're seeing some of these jobs and some of these job titles and change it to, like, lucrative is not the right word, but like you have the ability to support yourself and make a good living in this industry.
And I want to also offer legacy building. And so what you can create through the insurance industry is you can build this, and it's a legacy. If you do have children, it's an opportunity to pass that on, to your children. So it's one of those things. And then you're actually helping families also create a legacy and build wealth based on how they actually structure their portfolios.
Yeah. I think a piece from, as you think about fraternities, you think about the networking that you have within your organizations, right? I think as we think about the insurance industry, I think there's an opportunity for us to connect and foster a better neighborhood in collaboration amongst the insurance industry as well, right? Thoughts on how we can do that better across the insurance industry of Black Americans, of African Americans as well?
So
go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead, Harvey.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll yield this one time to a cue. Go ahead, sir.
What I was going to say is, I think one of the ways is by spreading the information about organizations. So NAIA and NAIFA, as an example, are places that, we can meet together, collaborate together, learn more about each other, how to help each other, grow and get into those spaces. And then also see the industry in its full breadth, right? So you are in the underwriting space, I believe, and then Harvey's in the Medicaid space, and I'm in the life insurance and investment space. And I think a lot of times people hear insurance and they lump it all into one category, right? In our organization, we have development managers, we have compliance managers. I mean, there's lots of different roads within this industry to get you to where you want to be. And I think if we continue to drive people to the different organizations, it gives them an opportunity to see the industry in a different way. And then I also think is if, we then go and support the fraternities at their meetings and their organizations and continue to be much more visible. We got to be more visible in this industry. And I think that's one of the things that, insurance agents in the past didn't want to do. But I think we got to be more visible. They got to be able to see us.
I agree. It's that visibility piece, Joel, and then it's also as fraternities and the brotherhood piece of that is actually now focusing on brothers and men and helping them actually. And I like this title because when you talk about the barbershop talk, for those of us who don't go to the barbershop anymore, but when you are in the barbershop, that's a great place to actually have these constant discussions as well, because it's about educating the community about what we do and what's out there that's available. Again, lucrative businesses that can be built from the insurance standpoint.
Yeah, I think the point of being more visible in the fraternity setting, the meetings, right? I think it's just the education piece, right? Like if I tell people like underwriting, they have no idea what that is, none at all, right? But trying to explain it to them in like layman's terms. And I'm talking to young African-American people. And if I say, hey, it's legalized gambling, then I get them to like, oh, okay, that sounds cool. Right. But you're using your analytical skills and like you can explain it to people to where it sparks their interest. And they're like, okay, I can do that for a living and I can make some money and take care of my family. Then you can get people to really get some interest, but you got to start with being more visible. And I like that idea. And I think people will be open to it. We just got to do it.
I also think as far as the visibility piece goes, is continuing your education. So, in addition to my insurance licenses, of course, I have a Series SIE, a Series 6, a Series 63, a Series 65, a Series 7, and a Series 24 General Principles license. By the end of the year, I have my CHFC designation done. First quarter of next year, I'll have my CLU done, and then I'm going to sit for the CFP exam next summer, right? If you actually go to the CFP site, you pull up and you're looking for an African-American certified financial planner. In the state of Virginia alone, I'll tell you, you have about 4 options, for the whole state. So visibility falls into those categories, as well. Is your name going to show up on the list when I'm looking for, an advisor in that category? And I think, one of the things, we parade our athletes. We parade our entertainers, those people we parade around, not tooting my own horn because Harvey falls into the same category as well. But if you run what the average NFL player makes, not the top percentiles, but just what the average NFL player makes, right? We fall into that income category, right? But I'm going to have my career in that income for a whole lot longer than that bottom tier NBA player or that bottom tier NFL player is concerned. And so I think visibility falls into all of those spaces. And when you look in this industry, I want to make sure that you find us in whatever search that you're doing. And I think that is what helps. Lastly, I also think we have a responsibility of going back to the universities. So I spent some time at Virginia State, working in the university system where, young men and women can see, oh, I never even really thought about that, right? And, a successful, professional in the space. We got to go do that. We got to roll up our sleeves and get in there. Now, I'll tell you, Justin, I don't hire, that many advisors straight out of college, right? It's a challenging industry for most people at that age. But I still think we got to go into the schools and talk about it, right? And give them some things to think about.
I agree. Starting to try to grab people while they are exploring careers is important, right? But I also think we got to figure out ways once we get people in the industry, how to keep them engaged and developed as well, right? Thoughts on how we can get people, once we get them in here, how can we keep them developed to where they can stay and have long-term sustainable careers like you guys have done, like I'm inspired to do going on year 17 being in this industry? How can we keep people developed in this industry?
So I think it is one of the things. It's a twofold thing because some people have to have skin in the game. So if we have somebody who says, "Hey, I'm willing to be mentored. I'm willing to walk with you, and we can do this thing together," then that's where you win. So I think that's going to be the key to that. So the question is, why are Black men not in the insurance industry? And I think a lot of it is that brotherhood connection, like we have in our fraternities, where they need to be able to come together. And so NIA, is one of those spaces, particularly here in the Richmond area, which is really fostering that kind of connection.
I totally agree with you, Ari. I tell people, they ask me in the interview process, Justin, like, what causes people to fail? On the producer side, there are only two things that cause you to fail: not enough people to talk to, or your unwillingness to gain knowledge and better yourself. Most companies will provide you with everything else that you need, but those are the two pieces. So I would say the third piece, specifically for Black men in the industry, is Harvey's point. You got to find a mentor. You got to find somebody to connect with. You got to find somebody who looks like you, right? From an underwriting perspective, right, that the BMI chart is not friendly to our women. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
And so, these are you want to have a challenging conversation, right? Go tell an African American woman that she doesn't qualify for the best rates because her BMI is out of line. The body mass index is out of whack, and she's going, what part of me is out of line, right? So there's some specific challenges to our culture that if you don't have that mentor, if you don't have somebody to talk to or share with or bounce that idea off of, you're going to struggle. Because when you go and have those conversations with your coworkers, that are Caucasian, that are Asian, they have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You dig into, criminal histories, you dig into all of these pieces of the puzzle, those things that have affected our culture, right? That show up when you want to engage in the insurance industry. Other cultures don't have those issues and problems. And if you don't have somebody to talk to, you feel like you're out on this island all by yourself. And so joining NIA, getting involved in the industry, I think is the biggest key to that. And the way the fraternities can help support that, right, is by opening up their thought processes and their doors to programs that specifically talk about this industry. And the last point I'll say under this category is helping to eradicate the wealth gap. right? So, we have a program here in New York Life that we call the Rise Empowerment Plan, and it's all about eliminating, the wealth gap. Most fraternities have a very similar program, within their mission, right, to do, but we don't spend as much time talking about, the economic empowerment of our people, which won't solve all of our problems, but Justin, I'll tell you, right? Money won't make you happy, but it'll fund your misery a whole lot better, right? Right? I'd much rather be at Ruth Chris sad and depressed than eating a hot dog. You know, you know what I'm saying, right? So, I think that's the connecting point.
Yeah. And Justin, I'm agreeing with Joel, so we're going to be able to agree on this platform. But outside of that, I just made some bad decisions with the fraternity. But the other part of it, and Joel mentioned this earlier, is the educational piece. So it's just not just getting like and someone put in the chat, a license keeps you unemployed. And so that's true. But I would say not only the health license, but a PNC license. And then, when you look at if you're going to go into the financial aspect of it, those licenses that Joel mentioned. So, for me, I've got PNC, I've got all of that in annuities, but I work in the health space. So it's one of those things where we just need to make sure that we're well-rounded and getting those other opportunities in there as well. Diversify not only your portfolio when it comes to insurance, but your educational and your learning part of that and your training as well.
I definitely, jump on that, right? So attracting them to the industry is one piece of the puzzle, keeping them in the industry, that secondary piece of the puzzle. And then the final part, I would say, in that is reaching back, right? Yeah. And bringing on, right? So, we've got to have that mindset of, I've got to continue to in this space. So we all have a responsibility to recruit another, right? And if as a Black man, you keep your focus, on finding another to bring into the industry, whether they're a good fit for your organization or a better fit for somebody else, right? Harvey has years of experience and a wealth of knowledge. Everybody's not a good fit for me, right? So I'm comfortable, saying, hey, look, we might not be a good fit for you, but that might be a better fit for you. You might want to go, and I know his leadership, will help. He's not necessarily going to stand on manhood properly, but his leadership, will help in that space. And you can have a great career. So we got to take on that mental space. If I got to go find my replacement, to continue on in each organization, right? You got to go find somebody else that's going to be there when you're gone.
Yeah, I think that's it's one of the challenges. We have to go find people to introduce them to this great industry of ours. We've got to mentor them and kind of cultivate their minds. And one of the things that I've often found challenging is Black men, I find, don't often network as well as others. Mm-hmm. And that's concerning to me.
That's the trust thing. And it's that crabs in the barrel mentality. And so when you look at fraternities, we kind of go against that. So what we do is we encourage and that whole relationship thing with men and building men up and lifting men up. But that piece of that is what you're getting at is that we've got to understand that if I'm going to mentor you or help you, you've got to trust me. And then, you got to know that I'm here for you. I'm trying to help you get to where you want to be. And I'm not trying to take your place because I'm me. So you can't be anybody but who you are. But I think that's the other piece of that.
So I say that, and this is just in a perfect world, like, is that concept one that we could, and this is a perfect world, we could put into the insurance industry? Yes. Right. Just thinking about the network, the engagement, the mentorship. And I know we've got it through, different organizations, but how could we put that into the insurance industry? Like that, to me, would be powerful to where it's there real time.
It's an interesting question. And I think the main pathway, to accomplishing that, is the connections in general, right? So we're talking about networking, within our own community, right? The interesting thing about the African American community is nobody wants to do business with you when you're at the bottom. Everybody wants to do business with you when you get to the top. That's the way our culture functions. So how do we flip that, right? So I think one of the ways we do that is by, now that we have arrived to the comment that was just there. Now that we have arrived to the top of organizations, I can't lead from behind the scene. I have to lead from in front of the scene, right? So, I still run appointments with my advisors, right? I still go to networking meetings. I still go to, events. I was at an event with some gentlemen who are, recently released from prison on Monday night at 7:00, right? Harvey and I don't do that kind of stuff no more, right? But I'm saying, like, at our level, our peers. Let me rephrase that. Our peers, at this level, don't do that type of stuff anymore. We got to continue to do that, because helping that bottom, come up, I think, is how we accomplish that.
And one thing, though, to Derek's point, though, is that in some organizations, though, Derek, there is no one at the top. So that doesn't even exist. So where there's not that at the top, then it's going to be these kinds of things, the fraternities and other Anaya, some other ways to make that happen. Just want to make sure that we're clear that some tops don't have us there at all. No.
Yeah, I mean, we have 1,500 African American advisors in our company, and they're 4 at what would be considered the top. And so it's a lot, and that's why we got to continue to push through and work individually, right, to make space and room, for the next person. When Harvey, retires, it's lining up, right, to make sure that the younger person is there to move in, take that position, and keep it going.
So thank you all so much. This has been great dialogue. I'm excited to share the platform with you all. Thank you all for joining us for our episode of The Slice. Be sure to tune in 2 weeks from now, same place, but new time. In order to include our West Coast family in the conversation, June will be moving the live episodes to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget to join Jody Pie, the only online platform for Black insurance professionals. Again, I'm Harvey Chambers, a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, Blue Phi, and we just want to thank Justin and Joel. Thank you. And until next time, you all have a great day.
Have a great day. Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you too, man.